on earth is an annotated bibliography? Well, that's a good question, and I'm here to answer it for you. My name is Julia, and I'm here in the Academic Learning Centre of CQUniversity, Sydney, to help you understand exactly what you need to do in order to complete an annotated bibliography. Let's just check out some before and after shots. So this is you before, possibly right now, wondering what you need to do in this task. And within 10 minutes, we'd like to get to this stage, which is to know how to write an annotation. And there's an example here of an annotation of a source, the source being written at the top. Feel free to stop here and have a look at the kind of information in this annotation. But moving on, and to annotate something, the verb has the word note in it, so it's logical that it means to take notes or to add notes to something. In this case, we're adding notes to your bibliography, meaning your library or your research, your sources that you're going to use, often for a second or for a later assignment. Now, the good news is you are all already annotating things. And let's look at an example. We have this DVD here, and I'm going to imagine that you legally made a copy of a great movie, and you're going to pass this movie on to your friend. And when you pass it on, you're going to give some information about that movie. So you might say, of course, the title of the movie, who's in the movie, maybe who directed the movie, what the movie is about, in other words, what happens in it, and then you'll move on to your evaluation or judgments of it. You know, how good was it? How many stars out of 5? If you've done those things, guess what? You've annotated your DVD, your film. So we're going to apply this same set of thinking to your research at university. So let's look at the shape of an annotated bibliography, and we'll rely on Bloom, who is a learning theorist, and he said knowledge is at the bottom of learning, and at the top we have evaluation. That's quite similar to what we just spoke about with your movie. Start with the knowledge and the understanding of the plot. This is what happens, and then these people do these things. And at the top we have your analysis, your synthesis or linking of it, and your evaluation of it. So that's the shape Bloom believes learning comes in. Your annotation, though, I would think will be more this shape. So we'll start with the knowledge and understanding and your summary of a source, and then we're going to have after that your analysis, evaluation and relevance of that source. But we're going to be doing pretty much what Bloom thinks we need to do in order to learn. So we'll put him back there. Okay, so an annotated bibliography is finding information, being able to summarize and then evaluate that information. We do it to learn about a topic, to learn to write critically and reflectively, and often, as I mentioned, it's linked to a second assignment. So the annotated bibliography might be your research for a second assignment. If that's the case, we need to know the questions and the things that are being asked in that second assignment, because that will dictate the kind of sources that we need to find. And they'll help us to know really how relevant those sources are. What do you get out of completing an annotated bibliography? A few things. You're going to improve your research skills, and then you're going to learn how to use your research to answer a question. Going to expose you to further knowledge and deeper knowledge in your course or for your degree, and yeah, improve your skills of analysis. So we're going to look like this guy. Okay, how do we begin? Of course, you need to read the assignment task. That means the annotated bibliography assignment task. How long should each annotation be? How many sources do I need to annotate? But also your second assignment. If this links to a second assignment, then perhaps we're looking at the kind of information we need to address the questions in a second assignment. We need to think of appropriate research terms or keywords. Some of them may be given within the question. And of course, then you are ready to start your research. We're ready to start our research right now as well. So of course we're going to go to the CQ library database. I'll just open it up. I am studying social work, so I'm going to put in some search terms here. And I'm interested in working with Indigenous clients in Australia. That's going to be the focus of my research. Okay, let's see what we get and how many hits we get with those search terms. I've tried to make it as relevant as possible to my task. 93, not too bad. I also, on the left-hand side here, want to limit my search. I only want peer-reviewed. I don't want everything in the library. I don't want books or reviews of books. And let's make this slightly more up-to-date here. Let's say 2009, 5 or 6 years old. Okay, this second article is of interest to me. So let's open it. Okay, it seems quite relevant. So we'll check the full PDF. We want to look at the abstract, skim read the research and the data, have a look at the conclusion, think about how important this is and how this can help me, how this knowledge can help me. So I've decided and determined that this is very relevant. I'm going to use this journal article. Unfortunately, now's the time you need to read and read and read and start with Bloom's knowledge. In other words, you need to know about this journal article. You need to learn about what they did and why and what the relevance of it was. So basically that means reading this journal article several times, 5 times, 6 times. And your annotation can start right now. Some people falsely believe paraphrasing is cut and paste and change 2 words. I can assure you that's not how you paraphrase, and it's not how you write at university. Doing so will give you a really high similarity score, and it's not best practice in academia. So rather than doing so, we're going to take 2 terms or 2 ideas and write the rest in your writing style. And this way you can avoid plagiarism, and of course you'll be writing in your writing style. So here are my notes from the journal article. This is what I feel the key ideas are. Some of the outcomes of that journal article, what they focused on. So I've written some notes here. I've started to annotate already. Now, my annotated bibliography, or my annotation of each source, is quite particular. Some lecturers or markers require it to be 1 paragraph only, and some don't mind if it's 2 paragraphs. If it's 2, it's a little bit easier. We can do the summary of the journal article in the first and the evaluation and analysis in the second. However, sometimes they specify 1 paragraph and a certain word limit for each annotation. Okay, here is my annotation. We finally got to where we said we were going, and this is my annotation of the source. Roughly, these are the things you will need. Again, this is going to be dependent on your task and on your lecturer and on their requirements, and all of this will be on Moodle. But of course, we need firstly the citation, and we see that at the top, and you can see this is correctly referenced, and I'm using a Harvard referencing style here. So number 1 at the top is the citation. Following the introduction and the main ideas in the journal article, the aims of their research and how they did their research. The scope is what the journal really wanted to focus on. You can think of telescope, what we focus on and what we don't focus on. Next, we're going to talk about the usefulness. So how useful was this journal article for my research? After that, there may be limitations. What were the limitations to this research? Was the sample very small? Are the findings generalizable? Should they be generalizable, or could they be? Was this research objective? What kind of authority? In other words, who were these people writing the journal article? Are they credible? What were the conclusions of the journal article? And your own personal reflection on this journal article and how it may relate to your second assignment or to your research overall. And you see here I've said that this article will be a major part of my research into the training and education of social workers in Australia. So here is a sample of an annotated bibliography, or one entry in an annotated bibliography, in other words an annotation from a student's assignment. We can see here this one's been divided into two paragraphs, the first being a summary and the second being the evaluative or analytical part, and the part which links to that second assignment and shows how this source can help to answer the questions in the second assignment. Of course, the annotation at the top where we write all the details of the authors and the year and the title has to be according to CQU Harvard referencing if you're using Harvard, or APA if you're using APA. So I've used Harvard and the link to Harvard referencing is here. Now I've just given you a presentation, so I feel it's best that I give you my references. And of course I referred to Bloom, and I also referred to the journal article, which is going to appear in my reference list with all the other journal articles or sources from my annotated bibliography. So there's a few links here to referencing guides, to helpful study guides at the library, and also a YouTube video on referencing made by CQUniversity. I mentioned at the start I'm from the Academic Learning Center. We have a lot of resources available on our Moodle site, so I recommend that you check these out as well. And please do come and see us at the Academic Learning Center. Hopefully by now you know exactly what to do to annotate your source. You've seen an example of what an annotation looks like, and now you see here where you need to go for help if you have any questions or concerns. Of course, in the first instance, you'll go to your lecturer, who is often your marker of your annotated bibliography. And then if you'd like someone to cast an eye over your annotation, that's what the Academic Learning Center is for. You can submit online, or you can come and visit us on campus.